Hi folks, how you doing? WrestleTrueResults303.com. Check out the website. Link in the description box. Mind, body, spirit, fitness, putting the healing back in health. Coming at you today with a video on getting dirty to stay healthy. Right? This might not make too much sense, but hopefully after the video is done and over with, it'll give you at least some food for thought. And once again, I hate it. I don't do enough research. I listen to health podcasts and there are people who specialize in this type of thing, right? Or at least are more knowledgeable about how to go about this, the procedure of getting dirty to stay healthy. But I'm going to try and do my best. Hopefully, if I can find out, I think I heard this concept a couple months ago, so I'm going to have to kind of dig back in the archives, and maybe I can throw a caption right here of the specific person. I know it's a lady. I'm sure if you just Google something about it, she'll probably pop up, whoever she is. But so, getting dirty to stay healthy. One of the things is now we're just in this world of cleanliness where there's hand sanitizers and all these things, and you do it on a daily basis, and you're really ridding yourself of the good bacteria, unfortunately. Right? There are good bacteria. That's what your entire digestive tract is bacteria. That's your entire immune system is bacteria. So that's actually what is keeping you healthy is bacteria. And if we're going to be sanitizing ourselves all the time, we're actually hurting ourselves in a way, if that makes sense. I hope it does. For a lot of people, if you're a biblical person or a spiritual person like I am, it's God created us from, the clay, from the ground, molded us and breathed life into us. Or if you're on that science path, scientists say we're nothing but stardust, right? So if we're nothing but stardust, whatever, we came from the ground. There's nothing wrong with the ground. Of course, nowadays we ourselves are polluting the ground, so that can make it difficult. But if you're in nature, in a natural environment, of course, we have here in Colorado the mountains. That's going to be more beneficial for you than going to the park that I have right down the street, because of course they are going to be drenching everything in pesticides, trying to kill weeds because we don't want weeds in our grass and things like that. When if you do the research, since I have a landscaping background, what are weeds? Weeds is just the unwanted growth of vegetation. So a weed can be whatever you want to call it. Here in Colorado, we have the Russian olive tree. That is considered a weed because Colorado no longer wants it. So in the summer, in the spring, you can see cities driving around, cutting down all the Russian olive trees and grinding them up, trying to get them out because we don't want them, right? That's our own perception of what a weed is. So, like I said, so I went off track. Let's talk about it. Let's see it in the way of the body, right? If your body gets sick, you're usually going to have a fever, right? So that fever is damaging. If the fever gets too high, you can potentially die. So, but that's the body's defense mechanism. It knows whatever virus or bacteria is in you causing this illness. If it gets hot enough, it's going to kill that bacteria. So that's why the body creates a fever. So when we start taking these medications to break the fever, you're really only prolonging it, the illness, in my opinion. I don't take medication, so I actually enjoy the heat. But same thing, if you injure yourself, your body swells, leaving you immobile. If it's your knee, you can't walk because it's all messed up. But that's your body's way of protecting itself so that you don't injure the area even further. Right? So, what about when it comes to the body has a parasite or something? This was something I thought was interesting that the lady had talked about. She said maybe this parasite has grown in your body or whatever it might be because it is the defense mechanism against something that's in your body, whatever the illness is. So this parasite has been grown maybe by the body and is used to protect itself against whatever other illness, disease, bacteria is in the body. So I thought that was an interesting concept of the body creating a parasite to fend off whatever issues it is currently having. I thought that was very interesting. And I can't remember, the exact thing that she talked about, but same thing where I was watching one of these videos, one of these documentaries about, the beauty of life in nature, and it was crazy because it was some plant, I can't remember the plant, but in the springtime, it gave off this beautiful aroma that attracted caterpillars, if I remember correctly. I think it was caterpillars. And then the caterpillars would eat the flower and its leaves. But then all of a sudden, the plant could change its aroma, the smell it was giving off, and change its actual, the way the plant was. So the plant was now giving off a new aroma, and then it went from being an out plant like that, and it shortened itself up to be long and skinny, and then the hummingbird would come and feed from it, and then the hummingbird would kill the caterpillars that were eating it. So it actually had its own defense mechanism just by changing its smell to bring, a predator, a soldier to come protect it. Right? So I thought that was very interesting on how just the flower itself could do that. And that's the same thing that the body can do, in my opinion. Once you start to do some of the research, the beauty of the human body and its own personal defense mechanisms. We can say we do smell different. I have a buddy, when he sweats, he smells like syrup. Me, when I sweat, I just stink. Actually, I'm starting to get that syrupy smell every once in a while, which is weird. But my buddy, he smells like syrup when he sweats. I'm not so much like that. Or same thing with the way you sweat to cool your body down versus I have another friend who, when we used to play hockey, like I would be drenched and he would just be really sticky. And of course, it could have been dehydration. Who knows? Just the way certain people's body reacts to certain situations to protect itself. What about the new research kind of coming out about C-sections and how it can actually be a little bit dangerous for the child? And we see it as a way we need to protect the mother, I guess, or maybe it's just easier. I'm not a female, so I don't really know the process or the thought process behind the C-section, but they say, coming through the vagina and in that area is a great way for the newborn baby to get all the bacteria and everything from the mother. So we're coming out, there's blood, there's body fluid, there could be feces, right? And all this kind of drenches his body and is now populating the newborn baby's immune system. And if you're coming through, if they just cut you open and bring you out to the stomach, the child is not properly being prepared, and his immune system is not being activated by coming through normal birth. So I thought that was something very interesting. Same thing with breastfeeding, when they say that once again is introducing the bacteria from the mother and helping populate the digestive tract and things like that and get him flowing properly. That could be the same thing, of course, if you're someone who has allergies like me. I've always grew up with allergies. And the best thing they say is to have local grown, local made honey. Why? Because those bees are floating around your area, your environment, picking up all the different pollens and things that you are most likely, allergic to and helping you out. Because it's introduced, it could be almost like a nature's vaccine because you're introducing these pollens and these things that your body has difficulty processing, and it's going to help you. Nature's vaccine. So, like I said, there's a lot of food for thought on why your body's doing what it does, and there are, I think it goes deeper in alternative medicine than we could ever think about. Same thing with, now we have these medications where you have 500 different, 500 different, what do they call it? I can't think right now. Things that can happen to you if you take this medication that are usually bad, right? You might go blind, suicidal thoughts, this and that. And isn't it weird how When you start taking some of these medications, things that they talk about is don't take medications with this food because this food can react negatively to whatever medication you're taking. So what that mean in general, that'd be like saying, don't take this medication and drink, is what they would say, right? Because it's going to counteract itself. And of course, people use alcohol to self medicate. But if a food is reacting with it, that means food is a form of medication. And that medication, you shouldn't be taking multiples at the same time. That's how people can get, can become even more ill when doctors start swapping medication for medication, and then they find out they react negatively with each other. So we've got to understand the same thing with ourselves, and then the body can do these things to heal itself, but we've got to be willing to take the steps to heal it. So there was one health podcast I was listening to, like I said, the Daniel Vitalis, the Rewild Yourself. And there was some gentleman he interviewed, and this was an organic farmer, I think, or at least experimented with it and did all these other things. And he said, when I go hunting or hiking, he'll just pick off leaves and start eating them off of trees and stuff, a stick, maybe a little bit of dirt and things like that. And I thought that was interesting. It's just introducing the environment around you, like you said, into your digestive tract, getting you new, new forms of food, and what's the word he used for it? Just different species of food in your body, because it was in ancestral times, ancient times. He said that their diet consisted of 100 different species of food versus today's diet of man, or I'm assuming the United States, is only maybe 20 to 30 different species of food. So if you start introducing more species, you're getting different bacteria, different DNA to help build your DNA, your strength, right? If we just came from the earth, you should try to explore and eat as much different foods, different species as possible. And then, of course, they talked about how broccoli, cabbage, we look at it and it's a different food, but it's not a different species. So we've got to be able to introduce new things into our body, new bacteria, because these bacteria can be healthy, and of course there can be, bacteria that have negative effects on us. But willing to try other things, because it's only going to make the body stronger, and that's what it's about, making the body stronger. So I'm gonna end it there. That was a lot. It's a 12-minute video. They say a lot of people don't like these long videos, but I hope it's helping you out and you stood around and listened to it. So, comment in the description box or in the comment box. Start some conversations. See how everything's treating you right now. New different things that you're trying in your life, and let's get a conversation going. So once again, I hope this helps. Subscribe to the channel. Share and like these videos.